Have you ever heard of the statement, watch what people do, not what people say? You know, this this message ties exactly to what happened last night. So I was chilling with my homeboy yesterday, and he was telling me about the issues that he's dealing with in his personal life. How he has someone telling him one thing, but on the other side, they're not backing up their words. And you hear it so freaking much. So freaking much. And it reminds me of all the drama that I've dealt with in my life. All the freaking negatives. And it always deals with like relationship issues. And I think that's like one of the things we have to perfect, is how to be able to deal with people, how to deal with different situations when it comes to people. I think that's so important. A lot of people fail to realize that. They're so caught up in their own ish that they come to realize, like, hey man, this life revolves around dealing with other people. And it's so big. It's like a massive part of life. And in order to become successful, you have to be able to master that. You know, my homie, he's 10 years younger than I am. Like I said, I'm 41. He's 31. And to hear him go through this, it's kind of like, dang, no matter what age or how old you are or how young you are, this is something that's gonna be here forever. I don't care how much AI is gonna infiltrate our life. At the end of the day, we can never take away that humanistic aspect of society. Like, I don't care how much we integrate it, like technology. One thing we can never master is the human. Like, the people are so unpredictable, and no matter what we do or how much we try to perfect things, perfect situations, people, humans, whatever the term you want to use, they're so unpredictable. But one thing that you can predict is people's actions, right? You can always predict that because it's a cycle. There's certain things you have to look out for. There's certain flags, red flags, green flags, they're like indicators. You got to really watch them, right? There's some people that perfect these things and they become like manipulators, right? When you know how to utilize these actions to kind of manipulate certain situations, and at that point there's that negative term, manipulator. So as my homie's telling me this stuff, it just brings back a flood of memories of my experiences. And I've learned them the hard way, man. I've gone through the fire of people lying, stealing, talking bad. But one thing that never lies is people's actions, right? I hang out with people in college because I'm going back to school. And a lot of my peers, a lot of the students that I'm around, they're half my age, 20, 21. And you'll see like how much they talk a big game. But when it comes down to the actions, they're not about it at all. Like at all, man. And I wish there was a way we can like have a rating system. Like, I remember there was this episode of Black Mirror. Have you guys ever seen the show called Black Mirror? It's on Netflix. It's a Netflix original. And there's like a grading system, how people can grade you or give you ratings socially. And depending how much people like you or hate you, the points go up and down in real time. And you have like this digital like counter on top. And I wish that's something we can like have, because I dealt with a lot of crappy students where we had to do group projects, which I hate, because in the real world you can fire people and you can rate them, and you can have a lot of these situations where people talk big and you can avoid them easily, right? But in the real world, there's a lot of wolves inside of sheepskin, man. And it's hard to predict that behavior. But even though we can't predict it, we can monitor them and see what they're really about. Who cares what anyone says? They can say people can say the dumbest things ever. People can say the most grandest things ever. I can say, yeah, I'm a millionaire. But when it comes down to it, I'm broke as hell. right? Just watch my actions. Watch people's actions. That's like one thing that like people have a hard time understanding. And it takes a while for people to actually learn this lesson, man. And I'm not saying like I'm this know-it-all guy and I know all the answers to life and everything I've been through is something that you should apply in your life. But that's the one thing for sure, is that humanistic trait is you always got to watch what people say. If they're about losing weight, see if they're about that. See how long they can last. See how tough people really are. People fall off all the time. Yeah, I want to lose weight. And their actions prove otherwise. They talk a big game. And I think that's a lesson that it took me a long time to learn. And maybe it wasn't that it took a long time. It's just that I didn't have a lot of life experience, man. I was so like unaware of these things. I lacked self-awareness. And I think that's a great thing to have, is because if you understand who you are, right, you understand where your weaknesses and strengths are. And this exactly reminds me of my first day of school. We had an assignment in one of my classes in Management 458. And on the first day of class, the professor said, hey, what I want you to do is get up and I want you to look around and I want you to say, I want you to introduce yourself, talk to this person for about 10 minutes, introduce yourself, where you're from, and, let them know who you are. Tell them a little bit about yourself. And the professor said, I'll give you 10 minutes. Well, in that class, there was a student that came in late. And when they came in late, they presented themselves very well. His name was Michael Snyder. He was a music producer, soon to be father, great student. He's also a professor, not at the school I was attending, but at a different institution. But overall, like when he came in, he presented himself extremely well. So I was like, yo, that's the student I want to meet. That's somebody I want to have in my life. Maybe not on a personal level, but maybe even like this educational path that I'm going down. I would love to get to know him a little bit better. So when that assignment came in class, I walked over to him. He was across the room. Most people, right, they'll look around. You'll say hi to the person next to you, beside you, in front of you, maybe behind you. Usually that's how students and that's how people behave, right? We have certain behaviors we do, but this guy, I was like, I gotta get up and walk over to him. Most students at that age would be too shy to do something like that. But for me, I've been through all of it. And I'm at the point where I don't care what people think about me. And I think that's another superpower. Once people can unlock that, they'll come to realize, man, life is so much happier. But anyways, I walk over to him. I tell him about myself. And one of the things I did tell him, like, hey, I haven't been on campus in 20 years. And he's like, dude, how old are you? I'm like, man, I'm 40. I'm 41. At the time, I was 40, when I was when school started earlier this semester. And he was like, bro, I'm like 42 or something like that. So I was like, oh, we're the same age, bro. I know students are going to be like, no, he's 3 years older than you. Pfft. Bro, when you hit a certain age, that number is just a number. And one of the things I did tell him, I was like, yo, I haven't been in school for a while. I was incarcerated. And the thing he told me was, stand where your 2 feet are at. Stand where your 2 feet are at. I didn't know what that meant. I honestly had no idea what that meant. And, I was just listening. I'm the type of person that asks questions more than I talk. And as I ask these questions, the whole time I'm thinking, what is that? Stand where your 2 feet are at. So I go back, I look it up after class. I'm like, stand where your 2 feet are at. It basically means be present. Understand the present time, what you're feeling, what you're thinking, who you are as a person. And that's called self-awareness in the present time. And in fully understanding who you are right now, you can better analyze your situations, right? And one of the things you can tie this back to is watching what people do, not what they say. And it also, you can apply that to yourself. Because if you say, hey, you know, I want to become rich, but on the weekends, like today, it's Saturday, right? At 8 a.m., I'm up, I'm already moving. But most people are sleeping in. And you really got to ask yourself, are you really that hungry? Right? And this is just a self-talk to myself. Because I know that there's a lot of days where I goofed off and I wasted time. And maybe it's not a waste of time to some people, but to me, I'm really hard on myself because I haven't made it yet. And I don't want to stop until I do make it. And I feel like once I do make it, if I do stop, I feel like I have no control of myself. Who am I? And I rate myself on my behaviors because that's who I am, right? My actions determine who I am and how others perceive me, right? And yes, reputation is an important thing. Like people say, you stop caring what people think. But then there's layers to it, right? There's multiple layers to like this level. Like when I walk around with long hair like this, it doesn't indicate that I'm professional, right? That's obviously you gotta care to a certain degree if you want to get to a certain point in your life, right? But I don't care about how people perceive me in certain situations. Like at school, I don't care if students see me with long hair or I look bummy as hell. I don't care. But in certain situations when I'm trying to level up, those things matter to me, and it should to you as well. It's just playing politics. But at the end of the day, I think that saying, stand where your 2 feet are so important. And I hope the homie can watch this video one day if it pops up on his feed and he can apply that to himself, because if he can fully understand, stand where your 2 feet are at, and you tie it back to just watching people's actions and not their words, we can save ourselves so much headache, because I know I had to learn the very hard way and have people backstab me and betray me and steal from me. Whether it's steal my time, steal my money, steal my emotions, whatever the case may be, where people don't actually have to go through that. And they can watch this video. Just avoid all the headache, man. So to my G, if you're watching this, man, I know you're in pain now. And even maybe if I was talking to my younger self now, I'll say this exact same thing. I know things hurt. It sucks. And time allows for that pain and the feeling that you're feeling right now to be a far distance from what your future self is going to be feeling. And the further that gap you can widen, the better it's going to be, man. The better you're going to feel. And I wish I had somebody telling me this, because everything in my life I went through by myself. And I didn't understand community. I didn't understand brotherhood. Like, we need brotherhood. Not just someone that's going to be there, but someone that's going to ride for us, man. And that's so important. As we go through these dark times, we have people there, because we can never make it by ourselves. I don't care if you think you're self-made, there's always someone there that was able to push you up, bro. Man, take care.